How did Netflix's biggest hit series transform from a cultural phenomenon into a minefield of allegations, shipping wars, and career-ending controversies that left fans questioning everything they thought they knew about their favorite stars? If you're curious about the chaos, maybe hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you'll need the support system for this emotional roller coaster we're about to embark on. In late 2022, the entertainment world witnessed something extraordinary. Wednesday didn't just premiere on Netflix, it absolutely demolished every streaming record in existence. Within weeks, Jenna Ortega's iconic dance sequence had invaded every corner of social media, from TikTok to Instagram Reels to that weird AI-generated YouTube channel that somehow fooled millions of people. The show's success was so massive that it turned its young cast into overnight sensations, transforming them from relatively unknown actors into global superstars with millions of followers hanging on their every word. But behind the glittering success story lurked tensions that would eventually tear the cast apart in ways nobody could have predicted. The series, Tim Burton's dark reimagining of the classic Addams Family character, brought together four main performers who would become the center of countless controversies. Jenna Ortega stepped into Wednesday's iconic black dress with a performance so compelling it earned her Emmy nominations and established her as Hollywood's newest Gothic princess. Emma Myers brought infectious energy to Enid Sinclair, Wednesday's polar opposite roommate whose colorful personality provided the perfect contrast to the show's dark aesthetic. Percy Hynes White portrayed Xavier Thorpe, the brooding artist with psychic abilities who became entangled in the season's central love triangle. His character represented everything fans expected from a Tim Burton male lead: mysterious, troubled, and carrying secrets that would slowly unravel throughout the series. Hunter Duhan rounded out the core group as Tyler Galpin, the seemingly innocent local who harbored the season's most shocking twist. Together, these four created an on-screen chemistry that translated into massive fan engagement, spawning countless fan theories, relationship speculation, and social media obsession. The show's immediate cultural impact extended far beyond typical Netflix success metrics. Wednesday's dance sequence became a viral phenomenon that transcended age groups and geographic boundaries. Elementary school students were performing it in cafeterias while celebrities recreated it on red carpets. The series generated billions of views across social platforms, with fans dissecting every frame for hidden meanings and relationship clues. Major brands rushed to capitalize on the Wednesday aesthetic, from fashion collaborations to Halloween costume sales that broke previous records. However, this unprecedented success created an environment where every cast interaction became subject to intense scrutiny. Fans began analyzing behind-the-scenes footage, press interviews, and social media posts with forensic dedication. What started as innocent appreciation for the cast's chemistry gradually evolved into something more invasive and potentially damaging. The line between celebrating the show and obsessing over the actors' personal lives became increasingly blurred, setting the stage for the controversies that would follow. From day one, Wednesday's romantic subplot sparked heated debates among viewers. The series presented a classic love triangle between Wednesday, Xavier, and Tyler, a narrative choice that immediately divided the fan base. Xavier represented the obvious romantic interest, sharing Wednesday's supernatural abilities and dark aesthetic. Their artistic connection and shared experiences at Nevermore Academy seemed to point toward an inevitable romantic conclusion. Tyler, conversely, offered something different, a connection to the normie world and a personality that challenged Wednesday's typically antisocial nature. Jenna Ortega herself became the most vocal critic of this romantic direction. In multiple interviews during the show's promotional tour, she expressed strong reservations about Wednesday's involvement in any romantic triangle. Her reasoning went beyond personal preference. She argued that romance fundamentally contradicted Wednesday's character, as established in decades of Addams Family lore. Wednesday Addams had always been portrayed as someone who rejected conventional social expectations, including romantic entanglements that might soften her iconic edge. During one particularly revealing interview, Ortega admitted she actively worked with the writers to minimize the romantic elements in her performance. She explained that she felt protective of Wednesday's independence and worried that romantic subplots might reduce the character to typical teenage drama tropes. Her resistance wasn't just professional, it reflected a deeper understanding of what made Wednesday Addams culturally significant as a character who existed outside traditional romantic narratives. The actress's stance created an interesting dynamic during promotional activities. While her co-stars remained diplomatic about the love triangle, Ortega consistently pushed back against questions that framed Wednesday primarily through her romantic relationships. She emphasized the character's growth through friendship, particularly with Emma Myers' Enid, as more meaningful than any potential romantic development. This position would prove prescient as fan reaction to the romantic elements remained mixed throughout the season's run. Behind the scenes, the love triangle also created challenges for the actors involved. Percy Hynes White and Hunter Doohan found themselves representing competing visions of Wednesday's future, with fans choosing sides and creating elaborate theories about which relationship would ultimately triumph. The intensity of fan investment in these fictional relationships would soon spill over into speculation about the actors' real-life interactions, creating pressures none of them were prepared to handle. While the official love triangle generated significant discussion, it was completely overshadowed by a fan-created ship that would dominate Wednesday discourse for years to come. Winclair, the romantic pairing of Wednesday and Enid, emerged from the series' first episodes and quickly became the fandom's most popular relationship. The ship represented everything fans loved about opposites attract dynamics, pairing Wednesday's gothic darkness with Enid's rainbow-bright optimism in ways that felt both natural and revolutionary. The Winclair phenomenon extended far beyond casual fan interest. On platforms like Wattpad, Archive of Our Own, and Tumblr, thousands of fanfiction stories explored every possible dimension of this relationship. Writers crafted elaborate alternate universes where Wednesday and Enid's friendship evolved into romance, often with more sophisticated character development than many official romantic subplots in mainstream media. The ship's popularity reflected broader desires for LGBTQ+ representation in popular media, with many fans seeing Winclair as an opportunity for meaningful queer visibility in a major Netflix production. What made Winclair particularly compelling was how the actors themselves responded to fan enthusiasm. Unlike many performers who distanced themselves from fanships, both Jenna Ortega and Emma Myers embraced the concept with genuine warmth. In interviews, they consistently spoke about their characters' relationship with affection and understanding, acknowledging the deep emotional connection that made the ship so appealing to viewers. Their openness created a feedback loop, where fan enthusiasm encouraged more supportive comments from the actresses, which in turn generated even more fan content. The ship gained additional legitimacy when Ortega made comments suggesting she could envision a romantic development between the characters in future seasons. Her remarks, made during various promotional interviews, were carefully worded but clearly supportive of the possibility. She emphasized that Wednesday's relationship with Enid represented her most meaningful connection in the series, one that had genuine potential for growth and development. These comments sent shockwaves through the fandom and were interpreted as semi-official endorsement of Wenclair as a legitimate romantic possibility. Emma Myers proved equally supportive, discussing the ship with enthusiasm and intelligence that impressed fans. She analyzed the dynamic between Wednesday and Enid with the seriousness typically reserved for official romantic storylines, acknowledging the emotional depth that made their relationship so compelling. Her willingness to engage with fan theories and romantic speculation helped normalize discussions about Winclair in ways that elevated it beyond typical fanship territory. However, this openness would later create complications as the intense fan focus on their relationship began affecting how other aspects of the cast's interactions were perceived and interpreted. During Wednesday's initial promotional period, one of the most frequently discussed topics among fans was the obvious chemistry between Jenna Ortega and Percy Hynes White during interviews and public appearances. Their friendship, which had developed during filming in Romania, translated into comfortable, playful interactions that many viewers interpreted as potential romantic interest. Percy's behavior during press events became particularly scrutinized, with fans creating detailed compilations analyzing his body language and comments around Jenna. The situation intensified when behind-the-scenes footage emerged, showing the two actors spending significant time together outside of official promotional activities. They had lived in the same apartment building during filming, leading to a natural friendship that included shared meals, evening walks, and casual hangouts that Percy frequently documented on social media. His posts often featured Jenna in informal settings, creating an impression of intimacy that fueled speculation about their relationship status. One particular photo shoot for an upcoming film project became a flashpoint for fan concern and analysis. The video showed Percy and Jenna in what appeared to be romantic poses, with Percy's behavior interpreted by many viewers as overly familiar or inappropriate. Fan-made compilations highlighted moments where Jenna appeared uncomfortable with Percy's proximity, leading to heated discussions about consent and professional boundaries. The footage was dissected frame by frame, with some fans expressing concern about what they perceived as unwelcome advances. The analysis extended to their promotional interviews, where fans identified patterns they interpreted as problematic. Percy's tendency to interrupt Jenna, his physical positioning during joint appearances, and his comments about their friendship were all subjected to intense scrutiny. Some fans created detailed threads arguing that his behavior crossed professional lines and made Jenna visibly uncomfortable. These observations gained traction on social media platforms, creating a narrative about their dynamic that would prove influential when more serious allegations emerged. The fan discussion around Percy's behavior reflected broader conversations about consent and professional conduct in the entertainment industry. Many viewers had become more sensitive to power dynamics and inappropriate behavior following various industry scandals, leading to increased scrutiny of interactions that might have been overlooked in previous years. The Wednesday cast's young age made these discussions particularly charged, with fans feeling protective of the actors involved. What began as speculation about romantic chemistry gradually evolved into concern about professional conduct, setting the stage for the explosive allegations that would emerge months later and fundamentally change how Percy's past behavior was interpreted and understood. The Wednesday cast world changed forever on January 19, 2023, when an anonymous post appeared on X that would trigger one of the most significant casting controversies in recent television history. The initial post was brief but devastating, with the author claiming to recognize Percy Hynes White from the show and expressing shock at seeing someone they knew from high school achieving such success. The post's tone immediately suggested something dark was about to be revealed. Within hours, the same account posted detailed screenshots containing serious allegations against Percy. The claims painted a disturbing picture of parties where underage girls were allegedly provided with alcohol and drugs for the purpose of sexual exploitation. The anonymous poster described a pattern of predatory behavior involving multiple victims over an extended period. The allegations were specific enough to be credible while remaining anonymous enough to avoid immediate legal challenges. The initial post triggered an avalanche of additional accusations from other anonymous accounts. Multiple women came forward with their own stories, describing similar experiences and creating a pattern that made the allegations appear more credible. The accounts shared common elements: parties at Percy's residence, alcohol being provided to minors, and situations where intoxicated girls were allegedly taken advantage of by Percy and his friends.
The consistency of these reports, despite coming from different sources, lent weight to the overall narrative. Social media platforms became battlegrounds as the hashtag Cancel Percy Hynes White began trending worldwide. The allegations spread across Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit, with users sharing the posts and adding their own commentary. Fan accounts that had previously celebrated Percy's work suddenly found themselves grappling with serious accusations against someone they had admired. The speed at which the story spread demonstrated social media's power to amplify such allegations, regardless of their ultimate veracity.
The situation became more complex when additional evidence began surfacing. Old videos appeared showing Percy using racial slurs, though some claimed these were taken from acting exercises or character work. Photos from his high school years were shared and analyzed for signs of the behavior described in the allegations. Every aspect of his social media history was scrutinized for evidence supporting or contradicting the claims being made against him. The timing of these revelations, coming at the height of Wednesday's success, made the story even more explosive. Percy was experiencing the biggest moment of his career when everything came crashing down. The contrast between his rising fame and the serious nature of the allegations created a perfect storm of public interest and media attention that ensured the story would continue growing regardless of the ultimate truth behind the claims.
As the allegations against Percy gained momentum throughout early 2023, the silence from both him and Netflix became increasingly noticeable. Fans, media outlets, and industry observers waited for some form of official response to address the serious claims circulating on social media. The lack of immediate denial or clarification allowed the narrative to develop and spread without contradiction, creating an information vacuum that speculation and rumor quickly filled. The entertainment industry's response was swift and decisive in ways that reflected post-Me Too sensibilities about addressing misconduct allegations. Netflix quietly began distancing itself from Percy, removing him from promotional materials and avoiding any public statements that might suggest support. Industry insiders reported that discussions about his future with the show began almost immediately after the allegations surfaced, though these conversations remained confidential until much later.
Meanwhile, Percy's social media accounts went silent. His previously regular posts about Wednesday's success and his appreciation for fan support stopped abruptly. This digital disappearance was interpreted by many as either an admission of guilt or evidence that he was receiving professional advice about managing the crisis. The silence only intensified speculation about the allegations' validity and what action, if any, was being taken behind the scenes. The situation created an impossible position for Percy's co-stars and the show's production team. Speaking in his defense, risked being associated with potentially serious misconduct, while remaining silent could be interpreted as abandoning a colleague. Jenna Ortega, Emma Myers, and other cast members found themselves facing questions about the allegations during promotional appearances, forcing them to navigate between professional loyalty and personal safety.
Fan communities became increasingly divided during this period. Some continued supporting Percy, arguing that anonymous allegations shouldn't destroy someone's career without proof. Others felt that the pattern of accusations was too consistent to ignore, and that supporting him meant dismissing potential victims. The debate raged across social media platforms, creating lasting divisions within the Wednesday fanbase that persist today. When Percy finally broke his silence in June 2023, nearly 5 months after the initial allegations, his response came in the form of an Instagram story that attempted to address the situation comprehensively while maintaining his innocence. If you're still following this absolute mess of a story, maybe give that subscribe button a gentle tap. We're going to need each other to get through the rest of this chaos together.
Percy's statement firmly denied all allegations, characterizing them as a coordinated misinformation campaign orchestrated by someone he claimed never to have met.
He emphasized the impact the false claims had on his family and friends, noting that they had been doxxed and received death threats as a result of the viral allegations. The response highlighted how social media controversies can affect not just the accused, but entire support networks of innocent people. The statement's most significant element was Percy's explanation of the evidence that had been circulating on social media. He claimed that underage photos of him had been shared without permission and that videos showing him using offensive language were taken from acting exercises rather than reflecting his personal beliefs. This explanation addressed two major pieces of evidence that had been used to support the allegations against him, though it didn't convince all skeptics.
Percy also included a statement from a friend named Jane, who had been referenced in some of the original allegations. Jane's statement firmly defended Percy, claiming to have been present during some of the situations described in the accusations and asserting that I had been misrepresented or fabricated. She also revealed that she had previously been friends with one of the accusers but had ended that relationship, suggesting personal animosity might have motivated false claims. The response generated mixed reactions from fans and observers. Some felt vindicated in their support of Percy and viewed the statement as proof that he had been the victim of a malicious campaign. Others remained skeptical, arguing that the response came too late and didn't adequately address all the allegations that had been made. The polarized reaction reflected broader debates about how allegations should be handled in the social media age. However, by the time Percy's response was published, significant damage had already been done to his career and reputation. The months of silence had allowed the narrative about his alleged misconduct to become established in public consciousness. Even a strong denial couldn't completely undo the impact of the initial allegations, particularly in an industry where perception often matters as much as reality. Despite Percy's public denial and the supportive statement from his friend Jane, Netflix made the decision that would define the remainder of his career. The streaming giant quietly confirmed that Xavier Thorpe would not be returning for Wednesday's second season, effectively writing Percy out of what had been his breakthrough role and biggest career opportunity.
The official explanation for this decision remained diplomatically vague. Netflix representatives cited creative decisions and story development as the reason for Xavier's absence, avoiding any direct reference to the allegations that had dominated headlines. This careful language protected both the company and Percy from potential legal complications, while still addressing the situation's practical realities. Behind the scenes, industry sources suggested that the decision had been made months earlier, during the height of the controversy in early 2023. The time between the allegations and the official announcement allowed Netflix to quietly adjust Season 2's storyline to minimize Xavier's absence, while avoiding any appearance of hasty decision-making. This approach reflected the company's experience managing similar situations and their commitment to protecting their investment in the show. For fans who had followed the allegations closely and believed in Percy's innocence, his removal from the show felt like an injustice. They argued that anonymous accusations shouldn't have the power to destroy someone's career, particularly when those accusations had not resulted in criminal charges or civil lawsuits. The situation highlighted ongoing debates about cancel culture and the appropriate balance between believing accusers and protecting the accused from false claims. Jenna Ortega's eventual comments about the situation demonstrated the delicate position cast members found themselves in. She acknowledged that losing Percy had been challenging, but emphasized that the show's creative team had successfully introduced new characters and storylines to fill the gap. Her diplomatic response avoided taking sides while acknowledging the practical impact of his absence on the production. The broader entertainment industry watched the Percy situation closely, as it represented a significant test case for how streaming platforms would handle misconduct allegations against rising stars. Netflix's decision to prioritize caution over loyalty sent a clear message about their approach to such situations, influencing how other companies might handle similar controversies in the future. While the drama surrounding Percy dominated headlines for months, another controversy was quietly building around Jenna Ortega herself. When Wednesday Season 2 finally premiered, fans immediately noticed significant changes in the star's appearance that triggered intense speculation and concern across social media platforms. The most obvious change was Jenna's dramatically altered eyebrows, which had been bleached to an almost invisible platinum blonde. This aesthetic choice, made for her character development in Season 2, created a completely different facial structure that many fans found jarring. The bleached brows emphasized different aspects of her features, leading to widespread discussion about whether she had undergone cosmetic procedures or if the change was purely due to the eyebrow alteration.
Social media exploded with conspiracy theories about Jenna's transformation. Some fans claim she had undergone buccal fat removal, a procedure that creates more defined cheekbones by removing fat pads from the cheeks. Others suggested she had received various other cosmetic treatments, from lip fillers to jawline contouring. The speculation became so intense that detailed comparison photos analyzing every aspect of her facial structure began circulating across platforms. YouTube conspiracy theorists seized on the story, creating elaborate videos that analyzed Jenna's appearance frame by frame. These videos often included dramatic claims about Hollywood pressures and the entertainment industry's impact on young actresses. The content ranged from relatively measured discussions about beauty standards to wild conspiracy theories involving everything from secret cosmetic surgery to personality changes induced by fame.
The absurdity of some theories reached peak levels when content creators began claiming that learning German pronunciation for the show had somehow changed Jenna's facial structure. Other videos suggested that her personality had been completely altered by fame, comparing her current reserved demeanor to her earlier, more energetic public appearances. These analyses often ignored the simple explanation that she was staying more in character during promotional activities. Jenna herself eventually addressed the speculation by explaining that she has a naturally reserved expression and that she was intentionally staying more in character during the Season 2 promotional tour. Her explanation made sense given Wednesday's personality, but it did little to stop the conspiracy theories that had already taken on a life of their own across social media platforms.
The controversy highlighted how intense public scrutiny can turn normal changes into major talking points, and how social media's amplification effect can transform minor alterations into significant controversies that overshadow the actual work being promoted. Amidst all the drama surrounding Percy and Jenna's appearance, another relationship dynamic was generating significant fan discussion and analysis. The friendship between Jenna Ortega and Emma Myers, which had been celebrated during Season 1's promotion, was now being scrutinized for signs of tension or change. During the first season's promotional tour, Jenna and Emma's chemistry had been undeniable. Their interviews were filled with natural banter, affectionate comments about each other, and the kind of genuine friendship that fans found refreshing in an industry often characterized by manufactured relationships. Jenna's daily voice memos to Emma during filming, where she would sing personalized songs about Emma's beauty and worth, became legendary among fans as examples of pure, supportive friendship.
However, some observers began noting differences in their interactions during Season 2 promotion. Emma appeared more reserved during joint interviews, leading to speculation that the intense fan shipping of their characters had created awkwardness between them personally. Videos analyzing their body language and eye contact became popular on TikTok and YouTube, with fans debating whether their friendship remained as strong as it had appeared initially.
The analysis extended to their individual interview responses about each other. Some fans interpreted Emma's more diplomatic answers about their friendship as evidence of cooling relations, while others argued that she was simply being more professional and less effusive in her public comments. The scrutiny became so intense that normal variations in energy level or mood during promotional activities were interpreted as signs of interpersonal drama.
Other fans pushed back against these interpretations, arguing that the speculation was invasive and potentially damaging to a genuine friendship. They pointed out that Emma had always been more introverted than Jenna, and that expecting consistent high energy during months of promotional activities was unrealistic. The debate reflected broader questions about how much fans should analyze celebrities' personal relationships and whether such scrutiny might actually damage the relationships being celebrated. The situation was complicated by the continued popularity of Wednesday-Claire shipping among fans. While both actresses had previously expressed support for the romantic pairing of their characters, the intensity of fan investment may have created pressure that affected their comfort level with discussing their personal friendship. The line between celebrating fictional relationships and speculating about real ones had become increasingly blurred. Despite the speculation and analysis, both Jenna and Emma continued to speak positively about each other in interviews, though perhaps with more measured language than during their initial promotional period. Their friendship appeared to remain intact, even if it had evolved under the pressure of intense public scrutiny and fan investment. When Wednesday Season 2 finally premiered, it arrived carrying the weight of all the controversies and speculation that had surrounded its cast for nearly 3 years. The show's return was simultaneously celebrated and analyzed through the lens of everything that had transpired since the first season's massive success. From a ratings perspective, Season 2 largely matched the first season's impressive numbers, suggesting that off-screen drama hadn't significantly damaged audience interest in the story itself. Netflix reported strong global viewership, with the show once again dominating streaming charts and trending across social media platforms. The success indicated that audiences were willing to separate the fictional world of Nevermore Academy from the real-world controversies surrounding its cast.
However, reviews and fan reactions were notably different from the universal acclaim that had greeted Season 1. Critics and viewers frequently mentioned Zelier's absence in their analysis, with many noting how the character had been written out and whether the show suffered from losing that dynamic. Some felt the new characters successfully filled the gap, while others argued that the original cast's chemistry couldn't be replicated. The season's handling of romantic storylines also generated significant discussion. Jenna Ortega had succeeded in her goal of reducing Wednesday's romantic entanglements, with the character focusing more on mystery solving and personal growth than dating drama. This approach pleased some fans who had felt the love triangle was unnecessary, while disappointing others who had been invested in those relationships. Lady Gaga's casting as a legendary Nevermore teacher generated enormous excitement, though her appearance was saved for the season's second part, leaving some viewers feeling misled by promotional materials. The decision to split the season created additional anticipation while also frustrating fans who had expected to see all advertised elements in the initial episodes.
The introduction of new cast members was generally well received, with several fresh faces bringing energy and new dynamics to the established world. The writing successfully incorporated these changes while maintaining the show's distinctive tone and aesthetic that had made it such a cultural phenomenon initially. As Season 2 concluded and fans began speculating about future installments, the cast members found themselves in very different positions than they had occupied just 3 years earlier. Percy Hynes White had moved on to other projects, including roles in independent films that allowed him to continue his career despite the Wednesday controversy. His Instagram story congratulating the show's success suggested he harbored no obvious resentment about his departure, though his true feelings remained private. Jenna Ortega had cemented her status as one of Hollywood's most promising young actresses, with the Wednesday role serving as a launching pad for numerous other opportunities. Her handling of various controversies had demonstrated maturity and professionalism that impressed industry observers, even as she continued dealing with intense public scrutiny about her appearance and personal choices. Emma Myers had emerged from Wednesday with increased recognition and new opportunities, though she continued to maintain a relatively private profile compared to her co-stars. Her handling of the shipping speculation and friendship analysis had shown grace under pressure, allowing her to preserve her personal relationships while building her professional career. The broader entertainment industry had taken note of how social media controversies could impact major productions and the careers of everyone involved. The Percy situation had become a case study in crisis management, while the intense scrutiny of cast relationships had highlighted the challenges facing young performers in the digital age.
For Wednesday itself, the show had proven resilient enough to survive significant behind-the-scenes drama while maintaining its cultural relevance and audience appeal. The series had successfully evolved beyond its initial cast configuration, suggesting that strong writing and distinctive vision could overcome the loss of key performers when necessary. Looking toward potential future seasons, Wednesday faces the challenge of continuing to grow and develop while managing the ongoing public fascination with its cast's personal lives. The show's success has created opportunities for everyone involved, but it has also demonstrated how quickly fame can become complicated by speculation, controversy, and the intense scrutiny that accompanies major cultural phenomena. The lessons learned from Wednesday's journey through success and scandal will likely influence how similar productions handle cast management, fan engagement, and crisis communication in an era where social media can transform minor incidents into major controversies within hours.
The Wednesday saga ultimately serves as a fascinating case study in modern entertainment, where artistic success and personal drama intertwine in ways that would have been impossible in previous decades. The cast members have each navigated their unique challenges while contributing to a show that, despite all its controversies, remains a significant cultural achievement that has influenced fashion, social media trends, and television storytelling. Whether future seasons can maintain this balance between creative success and personal challenges remains to be seen, but the show's resilience through its first major crisis suggests that strong storytelling and compelling characters can survive even the most intense off-screen drama. And there you have it, the complete mess that somehow produced one of Netflix's biggest hits. If you survived this emotional marathon with me, you definitely deserve to hit that subscribe button one more time, because honestly, we've been through too much together to part ways now. Drop a comment if you watched Season 2 and whether you think it lived up to all this behind-the-scenes chaos, and I'll see you in the next deep dive where hopefully everyone keeps their controversies to a minimum.